So what we're going to do right now is one activity to reduce stress and to organize. It is called brain dumping. You will need a pen and paper for this activity. So go ahead and put me on pause. Make sure you have your pen and paper. So brain dumping is also called mind sweeping. And what it is it's an activity that allows individuals to capture a variety of thoughts in no particular order. So what will happen in this brain dump, and that'll be in the next slide, is things that maybe you're worrying about or your personal and professional to-do lists, everything will come together and you're going to dump it out at the same time. So brain dump. With your pen and paper, just start listing out everything that's in your brain. Your personal stuff, your professional stuff, your school-related stuff, your work-related, anything. Don't organize it, just write it. And this can be anything from buying a birthday present to texting somebody to setting up a physical therapy appointment, whatever it is, and then write as much as you can. My suggestion, again, is to pause this video right now and then go ahead and unpause when you're ready. And this is the brain dumping part of a brain dump. Okay, so if you're on the slide, you have finished your giant to-do list. I want you to put it to the side, and right now we're going to talk about this priority matrix. So this is the Eisenhower priority matrix. It's also found in a few books by Stephen Covey, and it's used in a lot of situations. A lot of consultants who work with individuals on time management strategies or even decision-making strategies use this. So there's an urgent and an important kind of this. So when you look here, these are all urgent items, and then this column is not very urgent. But this top row means they're also important, and this bottom row means they are less important. So this category is where you end up spending a lot of your time. These are your due now. These are things that are planned and that they're immediately due. These are often demands from your superiors or from your customers. They're meetings, appointments, reports, submissions. Then there's the planning, preparation, scheduling over here. These are reject and explain. So these can be trivial requests, something that's maybe an emergency for somebody else, but not to you. Interruptions, distractions, resist and cease. So another way to kind of look at it is these are your due first categories. So everything that's both important and urgent. These are your due first. So these are important tasks that have high urgency. Over here, they're important but not urgent. So I would think of this more as the exam or the research paper that's due at the end of your semester that is worth 50% of your grade. It's clearly very, very important, but it's months away, okay? So that's where your planning and your strategic thinking and your outlining and your deciding kind of falls into. Let's go back over here. This is your delegate. So this is not important, but they are urgent. And this is a huge time suck. A lot of times this is a distraction or something that's urgent to somebody else. Anywhere you can, you want to try and delegate this. Then this last category is your don't do. These are comfort tasks. They are very seldom productive and they're often demotivating. And this is where we're going to try and don't do these. So before you just start deciding what is urgent and important and what can I delegate, you really have to think about what lens are you looking at these as a priority. So are you strictly going by deadlines, like my research paper is due in a week, so that's my priority, or I've looked at Canvas and here are all my deadlines? Are you looking at it in terms of financial? For example, is your rent due or are you behind on bills? And so you want to spend more time earning money and maybe settle for good enough in other areas. Or maybe it's your GPA, right? Like you're doing fine in all your classes and you're super behind and not doing as well as you would like in another. Then that maybe is your priority. So before you start organizing everything in your priority matrix, know what your priority is. And that will shift from time to time. It could shift from week to week, but it will definitely shift semester from semester if you're using GPA or finances or whatnot. So in this example, I'm going to show you, just know that my example is going to use deadlines. All right, so this is my to-do list. I just did a giant brain dump. and I have to grade papers, and I have to double check links, and I have to send a package to my mom and buy stamps and follow up an email. And so I made this list. It's not in any sort of order. And so what I'm going to do on the next slide is drag and drop, okay? So now this is the same list, and I'm going to drag and drop my to-do list into my priority matrix. And I'm using deadlines as my kind of like decision maker. That's my priority, is deadlines. All right, so I have to grade papers. So my first thing is, my papers are important to grade, but they're not, they turn them in. So I'm going to put that into less urgent. Double check links in Canvas. I have to do that right away. Students are in there right now. Send my package to my mom. It is her birthday, but it's not her birthday for 2 weeks. Buy stamps. How about I ask someone in my family to buy stamps? Maybe my husband. Follow-up email to part-time faculty. Okay, so that email is not urgent stuff. I can do it later. Renew my CPR certification. Well, I need to be CPR certified, right? So CPR dates for class. So the class that I'm teaching, my students need that for this semester. Okay, plan for future semesters. It's less urgent, but it's still really, really important because I have to get that schedule done. Check in yoga and mindfulness minor students. Those are actually, like, while I oversee the students, they're not actually my students. So maybe I can ask one of the instructors to do that, or I can ask the secretary, right? Register LFS soccer. My husband is just as capable of registering also. Status of the GPA minor. So I am in charge of coordinating it, and I need to get the bulletin updated. So I should do that first, right? And then last is pay the rent bill. Well, the bill is due on the 1st, and that's coming up pretty soon. So I'm going to make that as a due first. And so essentially that is how you would make your decisions. And so you would use the same lens that makes the best sense to you, and we would go from there. So this is actually how I organize my office as well. So these are my urgent and important, and my important and urgent. And so each color is actually related to a specific project. And I use Post-it notes for 2 reasons. 1, if I need to, I can take that Post-it home. But 2 is I love the satisfaction of crumpling something up and dropping it. And 3 is that if something turns into a category where I can delegate it, I can literally take that Post-it note off and give it to the person, and I've just delegated it. All right, so now you've done a priority matrix. However, this is not a one-time and I'm done kind of system. You have to think about how can you use this priority matrix and this brain dumping in your life on a regular basis. So this is something that I do every Friday. I do it on Friday so that I don't think about it over the weekend, and when I pop into my office on Monday, I am ready to go. Sometimes though, going into the second question, how can you tell we need a brain dump? Sometimes though, I've been to a lot of meetings, and I've gotten a whole bunch of other to-do lists, and I just feel either anxious or my brain feels really, really busy and unorganized. And I take some time and I do a brain dump, and then I organize later on. So for you, when you're thinking about this, 1, how can you fit this into your life? 2, how do you know you need to reorganize? But 3 is how can you spend more time in those top 2 quadrants? How can you graciously learn how to say no? The last thing that I just want to mention is that the priority matrix is one tool. That's it. It's just one tool. It happens to be one that's listed in a lot of books, a lot of business journals. It's referenced quite a bit because it helps you choose priorities. But there are other systems, and you can find some of these on Canvas. You can also look them up. There's things like a bullet journal or a Kanban or Getting Things Done, which is a whole system. It has a book attached to it. The app Todoist, Google Tasks, and maybe even a daily planner, right? Regardless of what you choose, it has to work for you. And so you don't just try it for a week and say like, oh, that didn't work. You really have to use it for a couple of months to figure out, is this working for me? If it's not, find a new thing and figure out why that didn't work for you. Is it because you didn't get daily alerts? Is it because you're using a daily planner, but you actually use your phone for everything? So before you adopt a system, think about how you work your life. Are you virtual everywhere? Do you just use your laptop and your phone for everything? Or do you sit at an office desk? Do you have an option to look at a planner every day? Consider your lifestyle before you pick a system. And if you switch systems, reflect on why that system didn't really work for you.